Oftentimes we set goals for our practice. We have desires. If I ask you a question, what does your practice look like in 3 years? You probably have a pretty good answer to that. But where we tend to struggle is actually planning and tracking and moving the needle towards those goals and actually having a plan, actually looking to see if we're making the step-by-step progress to get there. And so in this good substantial lesson I want to go over with you today is actually how to do that, how to leverage certain tools in tracking and planning for your practice for growth. Within the Modern Chiropractic Marketing and Chiropractic Success Academy, one of the things that I'm talking a lot about is overcoming this inflation issue we're dealing with as I record this in late 2022. Something I'm talking a lot about with our MCM members is like a 20% growth initiative and trying to grow our practice by 20% in 2023, 10% to actually catch up with inflation, and another 10% to have growth within our practice. And so I want to go over a really good plan for you on how to track and start planning out your growth for your practice. And what I'm going to use today is the CSA digital dashboard that we've designed within the Chiropractic Success Academy to go through and do that. And I'm going to actually go through each tool and how to use it and why to use it and some of the things you need to be considering for your practice. So let's jump right into a screen share here into the dashboard. The first thing we're going to start covering tracking. And we want to track a lot of aspects of your practice. And the first tool I have here is the indicator scorecard. We do have resources here for the functionality of each tool, but you can see this is just a pre-filled out version here, year 2021 Q2. You would obviously, if you're in 2022 planning Q4, you would have it there and it's blank. But let's go back to a filled out version already. And we're going to focus on the trailing indicators for right now. These are the goals that you set, and then the leading indicators are the things you would do to actually achieve those trailing indicators, right? So if I wanted 2 MD referrals per week as a trailing indicator, I better have some MD meetings and I better set a goal that I can achieve to do that. And then from there, the tracking aspect of it is actually going into this scorecard and saying, okay, yeah, like we did 2 MD meetings the week of April 5th. We did one the week of April. We did none that one, and we did one there. And so we hit our goal of 4 MD meetings per month. And then, your team would go in also and say, yeah, we had 1 MD referral there that week, not one there, none that one. And we had one there. So we actually did 3 that particular month. Sorry, we went 2 per week. So let's say we did 2 there and we did 3 there and we did 1 there. And overall, a couple of weeks we hit our goals. But from a overall standpoint, we didn't hit, say, that 8 per month, right? You could make your goals per week, per month, per quarter, but you want to track that there to see what you're doing. And then you would hit the save button there and hit the save button there, right? So this is a way for you to track. We're also going to go back to this tool under the planning section of this particular lesson today, but you got to get the idea of where you need to be tracking the stuff that you're trying to achieve. I want to set goals, right? Like if you're looking for 20% revenue growth in 2023 and you were 25,000 before, when we set it for 2023, we're going to set a $30,000 a month revenue. And you better really up your game on the things that are actually going to move the needle in that and start tracking it so that you're actually doing it and not just hoping that it happens, right? And so this is something that you really need to start tracking and developing all that, right? And so some of the examples of trailing indicators are for growth, obviously, new patients, office visits, reactivations, maybe new personal injury for you, Google reviews, MD referrals, revenue, right? And you can just go over here and add more, subtract as you go along. Certain leading indicators, MD meetings, how many videos you're shooting per month, how many blogs you're writing, are you running Facebook ads, attorney networking, again, if you're trying to get more personal injury, ask for Google reviews, content emails, running certain types of events that you're trying to do, improve your report of findings, you have better patient adherence. Okay. So these are some examples of leading and trailing indicators. Some other ideas you could have as a trailing indicator is the percentage of patients adhere to your treatment plan, right? What's the percentage of doctor discharge versus patient discharge? And so that would be a percentage you could come up with as a trailing indicator. Another trailing indicator could be the percentage of your new patients that schedule all their visits out. There's a good link between scheduling all their visits out and increasing the adherence to their care plans, right? So those could be some other options as well. And I want you to get creative, right? This leading indicator needs to be things that are, content marketing wise, social media, but also events outside the community, public speaking events, workshops, attorney meetings, MD meetings, corporate events, corporate talks, right? There's a lot of stuff out there that you could be doing. And we'll dive into that some in a little bit as far as planning out. Okay. So this is kind of step one of tracking and setting some really realistic goals for your practice and seeing that you're keeping up with them. Okay. And we're going to revisit this again with the planning aspect, but let's move on to the next one. And that is the marketing roadmap checklist. And so you can track to see what you're doing. So I'm going to create a new one actually here. I'm going to say, let's go October 2022, hit the check mark. I'm going to click on it and it's going to run you through a checklist. Okay. So this breaks down into that MCM roadmap, which is the destination, the fuel, the GPS, the vehicle. The destination is going to be your positioning, planning, and producing. The fuel, content marketing strategy. The content is the fuel. GPS is your messaging and storytelling, and the vehicle is your content distribution. All right. And so you'd go through in here and say, okay, if you've implemented that indicator scorecard, you can track that. Let's say you don't have a yearly marketing plan. You don't have a quarterly marketing plan. You're not doing any planning right now, which we're going to get to. You wouldn't check those off and you'd hit save, right? Then you go to the fuel and you would read through these. This is just, you don't have to be doing all this, but if you're doing a good amount of it, you're really checking a lot of the boxes, figuratively and literally, that are going to move the needle, right? Your website's a content platform. I've implemented clear messaging on my website. My website's SEO optimized, right? I've fully developed Google My Business. Let's say you only have 10 Google reviews. I'd love for you to have way more than 30, but I want at least 30, right? Just for the table stakes. You got Google ads. You don't have to, but it's one of those things. You go kind of look through and then you'll see where some of the holes are maybe in your marketing. And this gives you an idea of doing that. So let's hit save. Right. So it's a nice little checklist to give you a overarching idea of the things you are doing or are doing right in your marketing. Again, this is from the MCM roadmap. And again, fuel just kind of show you that a little bit. A lot of you are doing new patient marketing, but you're not doing any patient experience strategies right there. So we're not going to check that. And you're not doing any inactive patient marketing. So that's something we'll talk about as well. Okay. So this is the checklist, which is part 2 of your kind of tracking to make sure to see what you're doing and what you're not doing. Okay. Our third aspect is the referral directory. Okay. So I love this. This is a great way of leveraging your patient base to develop referrals and a network of people that are sending you people. And this is a way where you can track it. So let's, John Smith is the patient, found you on Google. But then as you're working with that patient, you realize they have a personal trainer named Mary. And you say, hey, John, you got the shoulder issue. I want you to still work out with Mary, but I think it'd be a good idea if I had some communication with her on what's going on. Would you mind that? He's going to think that's great care. Going to love the fact that you're taking the next step. You get what we do is we communicate with our front desk. Like, hey, you get John's trainer's information, Mary. They add it to this list here, getting their phone number, their email, and then you would write out your outcome. What you're doing here is you would say, call Mary. You would make that phone call and make it about John, right? Like work through what John's going on and say, hey, let's avoid overhead lifting for right now, but can do this type of stuff. And I'm going to go over some rehab with them. Maybe you can check on that. I don't want him to miss any training sessions. That she can work around that shoulder issue. And then towards the end of that conversation is like when you can, hey, I love working with like-minded trainers. Would you mind if I stop by your gym at some point and introduce myself and see how you do things, right? You set up that time. You go and meet with them. You make that conversation more about Mary and what she's doing as a trainer, how she does things and her typical clients and all that. And, within common dialogue, you can obviously, interject the things that you do and how there could be a good, referring relationship there. And so you would just jot down what the outcome is. So you're tracking this referral directory and building a network of people that are already, their clients are in your practice as patients. And I want you to limit this to just anybody that has to do with health and or performance for the patient. We're not looking for people's accountants and their plumbers and that type of stuff. We're looking for things that are health and performance. So some examples would be the trainer, yoga studio, other doctors, golf teachers, attorney, potentially teaching pro for tennis, right? It could be massage therapists, acupuncturists. Like there's all these different things that your patients have, other people that, again, related to their health and performance that they're working with. And this could be a way for you to connect with them, provide comprehensive care for that patient, and also build your network. Okay. And so the referral directory, keeping track of this, making sure you follow up with it will really help you build a great network. And that'll go a long way in developing more referrals for your practice. Okay. All right. The next one for tracking is the new patient log. Every new patient, so up here, year 2022, every new patient goes into this new patient log. And you can see we got it color coded. I'll go over that in a second. But then what happens is when you add them in there and you add in the referral source right here, referral, my network, right? So if I met with that personal trainer, Mary, and Mary's not a patient of mine, but then she sends in a client, that referral is from my network. And I'll tease it out a little bit more, which I'll go over when I open this up. But you can see it spits out a pie chart for you, and you can track where your new patients are coming from and see where you're doing well and where you can improve. And I'll click on the details here, but you can see we're adding the patient's name, their initial visit, where they found us. You can go up on unknown and actually, sorry. Yeah. And then unknown, and then you could type over it and create a whole new one. Referral source, right? So that might network, but I could say it was, Mary, the trainer, right? Treating doctor, if you have multiple doctors, any other special notes and different things that we do for our practice. Like we send welcome letters to our patients. You might want to put their date of birth in there so you know their birthday, patient's email, stuff like that. You can decide what you want to put in there, what you don't want to put in there. Hit save. And then we color code it because I like to also track. This is how you can track whether they're self-discharged or doctor discharged, right? So if I go into the details here, red is did not follow a treatment plan. We gave a care plan for whatever reason they didn't follow it. I want to know that. Or success is going to be green and referred out is going to be blue. So referred out and success are doctor discharge. That's a good thing for our patient adherence. Whereas the red didn't follow a treatment plan, that is a self-patient discharge, and that would ding you on the patient adherence. So you can track on not only where all your new patients are coming from, but also the ones that are adhering to their care plans. Okay. So we love the new patient log. It really helps us track and make sure people aren't falling off. We can see like, okay, why isn't Bob coming in? Bob's under active care and he fell off. And so it's a good way of tracking your new patients so they don't fall through the cracks. Right. Okay, cool. Last is practice analytics. I really love this. It tells us a lot about stuff. I'm going to go in here and let's see what we got for that. Okay, let's go back to 2022. Again, this is a sample. Let's take Q1 of 2022. You come down here, and for each month, so like let's say January 2021, or sorry, January 2022, you plug in the blue. So for that month, you plug in new patients, office visits, and the collections. And you can see in February, we did the same thing. And in March, we did the same thing. And then this spits out all the green boxes here. And based on how parameters you look for, I don't have the whole year filled out, but like in my private practice, I could do year to date. I could show you year to date of what it is for that. And you can look back at previous years. We go back and fill it in so you can do comparisons. But I can see based on that first quarter of us plugging in the blue, we're averaging in this particular example 27.3 new patients per month, 395 office visits per month, collections is 22,000 and change. And so we can keep track and we accurately know our numbers. Then it also tells me what my PVA is, 14 and a half visits per new patient on average. Office visit average for every visit that come in, average is $57.38. For every new patient that comes in, $829 per new patient. So I know my numbers and I can make accurate decisions, say, you know what, $57.38 is not enough. I need it to be higher. We need to get that to $65. And so I know that's a metric I need to improve on. And so you can really understand your numbers very well here and tracking your practice analytics and see quarter over quarter growth, year over year growth. You can, if I'm running a marketing campaign and I got 5 new patients from that and it cost me $1,000. I know that a new patient's worth $829. So I would do 5 new patients times $829 is X amount. I can calculate what my ROI is on that, right? If I spend money on a reactivation campaign and an office visit is $57, how many reactivations I get from that? You times that by how many office visits, and you can see if you got an ROI on that reactivation campaign. When you plug all these in for the first time and you look at these numbers, you might have a really low PVA. So we could throw all the good marketing we want at it, but if your PVA is 5, it's really hard to build a practice that way. And you might have a hole in the bucket where your patient adherence is not good and people are falling off way earlier than they should. So this helps you like get really insightful on your analytics of your practice to make accurate decisions. And so that's why we designed this as such. All right. So this is the practice analytics tab. And then on the dashboard, it actually will show you new patients this month, October versus August, September. So it gives you kind of the last 2 months and where you're at currently, if that was filled out, office visits, marketing expenses, revenue this month, and then your upcoming events as well, which I'll show you when we get to the planning side of things. All right. So that was the tracking, and that was indicator scorecard. That was the marketing roadmap checklist, the referral directory, new patient log, and your practice analytics. All right. And that is the tracking of your practice using this dashboard. Right. Next, we're going to go into the planning aspect of it, and we're going to start at the marketing budget here. Okay. So up here, I got it blank for 2022. This is a filled out 2021 that we did. And you can see we want to know what we can spend on marketing. And it spits out per year how much you're spending. So let's start with the 4 walls. These are the things that, you really have to pay from Christine Odell's book that she has. Your payroll taxes, you have to pay that. Insurances, malpractice, liabilities, all those things. Rent, mortgage, utilities. Utilities is going to fall under everything from your EHR, anything to run your practice. And then that marketing, I think, is one of the walls. Now, you might have 4 walls, you might have 3, you might have 5. If you sell supplements in a big part of your practice and you need inventory, that inventory would be one of your walls as well. But a lot of chiropractic practices are going to fall into these 4 things. Now, you have more expenses than that, but if stuff really hit the fan bad, like back when it did in the pandemic, there are certain expenses you can cut without closing your practice. These are the expenses you can't cut without closing your practice. So you get clear on what those cost you. Then we go to so you would fill out those 3 right there and get real detail on how much that actually costs you per month. Then you're going to go into think about any yearly one-off expenses you want to spend on marketing alone, right? So some examples could be sponsorship, SEO for website, logo hats, new website, future ad spend you might want to save money up for on an ad campaign. And then that adds up to $10,300 in this example. You put the due date in there of when that $2,000 check for the sponsorship is due, right? And so then that comes out to $10,300 total for the one-off expenses. And then when you divide that number by 12 months, you get $858. So the sinking fund every month, we want to put $858 to plan ahead for this. So it doesn't, like, I don't want to write a big $4,000 check per se for a website. So I know if in May 1, I'm going to write that check, but I'm putting money towards that. Okay. Every month. And I've had podcasts, and inside the Chiropractic Success Academy, we have lessons on the sinking fund for more information on that, but you can see how it spits out every month you want to transfer over from your operating account to your sinking fund $858 for your yearly one-off expenses. And that might be a lot. Like, not everybody's going to have that much money, but this is just an example. Okay. And then you go over here and you have your monthly marketing expenses that are every month, right? Your MailChimp account. You're spending 250 on Facebook ads, Google ads, Facebook boosted posts, graphic design, print, MD lunches, website hosting, right? All those things that you spend every month on a budget, and you add that up to, and now that is $2,088 per month in marketing. That's all those numbers and plus the 858 sinking. And so if your revenue is $35,000 a month, 2,000 a month isn't a lot of money for marketing percentage wise. It's pretty fair. If your revenue is 10,000 a month, 2,000 would be too much. It'd be 20% of your budget. That's a little bit much. So we'd have to understand we don't want to be that. There's that whole school of thought that you want to be like 10% of your monthly budget goes toward marketing. I don't like to just willy-nilly do that. I'd rather you be more start on like that 3%, 4%, 5% and work your way up with really good marketing that's got great content that you get more bang for your buck. And then you can start to increase the percentage there. And a lot of times I'll back in to the ads, right? So I won't put the ad money in there. But you can see that 2088, I'm going to go back to that 2088 transfers over to here. And now you have $17,000 a month in expenses that are like necessary expenses for your practice. You may have more expenses like 24,000 a month, but if your revenue is really high, then that's good, right? But this is what you need to expend to operate your business there. But let's go back up here. You might say, how much can I spend on ads? So a lot of times I'll zero those out, and let's go zero it. Good, that goes to zero. Enter. So now our marketing is 1388. And you look at everything and say, you know what, I could spend another $500 on marketing per month. And that's where I would go in and say, okay, I'm going to spend, 300 on Google. And I'm going to spend 200 on Facebook ads, no boosted posts. Okay, enter there. And that recalculates to 1888. And so a lot of times you can, look at all the things that you want to spend on yearly one-off expenses for marketing, all of the monthly recurring expenses you have, and then you can back into deciding how much you can spend on ads. And then as you're going and you're starting to see an ROI on your ad spend, you can increase it as you go along, right? For example, I used to spend $250 on Google ads, and I think like 500 on Facebook. Now I'm up in my practice to 1,500 on Google ads and still 500 on Facebook but that took it like almost 2 years to get to that, from 250 Google ads to 1,500. We kept on adding in $250 increments as we saw the ROI there. And we hung out at 1,250 for quite a long time. And we just upped it to 1,500. And I'm going to see how that teases out. And I'll look at, okay, let's roll that probably for 3 months at 1,500. And I'll look at my 3 months spending that much versus my 3 month or like my 12 months of spending 1,250 and see if we've improved. And if I did, I could say, oh yeah, we had 2 more new patients per month with that extra $250. I go in my practice analytics and I say, in my practice, a new patient's worth $1,100. 2 times 1,100, that's $2,200 by spending $250 more. That's like a 10-to-1 ROI. So you can see how you can start to understand how this whole thing plays out and really understand the dashboard of your practice and make accurate decisions. So if I go to 1,500 instead of 1,250 and I look and I didn't add any new patients, I know that didn't work, but it was, research and development. I spent a little bit of money, maybe $750 total to find out it didn't work. That's okay. I'm willing to lose money sometimes, because sometimes I make decisions and I get a 10-to-1 return, and I can start to figure out where the 10-to-1 returns are and do more of that. And that's what's going to get us that 20% revenue growth in a year, right? Is understanding how to make these accurate decisions. And this type of stuff here is what's going to do it for you. Okay. All right, cool. That's the marketing budget. Again, there's a whole lesson in that inside CSA. There's resources in there, but let's move on to the indicator scorecard again. All right, perfect. So This is where our planning is in this part right here. Okay. And we're going to really figure out what we need to do. You know, a lot of us are just so busy doing so many things, but we're not doing the right things. And we're setting these goals for this amount of new patients or this kind of revenue, but we're actually not doing the things that are going to do it. And so in your planning, I want you to get very strategic with writing out how often are you going to do these leading indicators that are going to actually move the needle in the trailing indicator. So this is a big part of your quarterly planning. Every quarter, I want to see updated numbers, right? And then track it. Right? So we don't need to go over the indicator scorecard too much because we already did in the tracking part. But in the planning, these leading indicators are going to really what's going to drive your practice. And then we can get to the marketing planner and take some of those out, right? We can add it to this. And from here, you'll see the marketing planner 2022 up there. We've got the year plan, and then we can tease it out by quarter. What's cool is that when I move to Q1, January through March, the year plan, all of them are here now stacked in a column. So everything I brainstormed on here in this year, you can see all of that. Then carries over into a column that I can then drag and drop, right? So let's say I decided a campaign I'm going to do is headaches. I'm going to put that there. You can drag and drop it, which is nice. Okay. And let me show you a filled out version we have. Actually, let's go back to the year. Sorry. Let's go back to the year. We got Google SEO website stuff, email marketing, our campaigns we want to run, video marketing, right? 4 videos per month, social media, paid ads, sponsorships, MD marketing, front stage, backstage, blogging, events, initiatives, community outreach, attorney networking, print and direct mail. You can add your own columns. You can subtract columns if you want, get rid of it, hit that minus sign and get rid of it. You can add columns, but you're going to just brain dump for the year. Obviously 2023, if I entered in a new year, hit enter. Now I got a nice blank plan for the year, and I'm just going to brain dump. Right. And so we'll go back to 2022. Let's see. So let's go, and we did this already for our MCM clients. You would then drag and drop in July and say, okay, we're going to do a headache campaign. So I pulled that over. We're going to shoot 4 videos per month. We're going to do 2 blogs per month. We're going to send out weekly emails. We're going to do 3 social media posts. And then you might have some one-off things, right? Like we're going to do a completely new website. Or you might implement attorney meetings. You put that on your indicator scorecard, you're going to implement those, right? And some of the things you can actually repeat. So if I hit that repeat button like I did, it carries over the 4 videos per month, right? And then what happens is we can color code as well and go in and say, okay, we completed that. We completed that. So this is July. Let's say back in August we did this. We completed that. Okay. And then you might have something like here where we go in progress, like something like doing your whole website might take some time. So we put that over there. And then yellow is on hold. We're going to do it, but you know what? I didn't get to it in January, so I'm going to move it. Okay. Another thing you can do, just for an example, let's say hiking was something we were going to do. We decided, we're not going to do it. So we canceled it. That's in red. Right? So you can color code and plan your marketing ahead. We want to plan our marketing quarterly to get very clear on what we're going to do. Right. And so you can see here, like the workflow here is headaches. We're going to shoot videos related to headaches. We're going to have blogs related to it, weekly emails sent out, social media posts, and things of that nature. And then that takes you to the next planning phase, is the editorial calendar, right? And so this is actually going to be where you tease out the month. So to review, we had the indicator scorecard, and we're writing out all the things we want to do and set goals there. Then we're going to go to the marketing planner, and we're going to brain dump for the year. We're going to tease out our quarter, where we wrote 4 videos per month, but we didn't say what videos we're actually doing. That's when we come into the editorial calendar. and we tease out the content that we're actually going to do. We're going to plan this out. So you can see here, content type, we got video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4. And you got the names of it. Let me hit just edit to show you. So up here, you would put your title, content type, video 1, general, the audience persona, who's the content creator, when's it due, who's editing it, where's the channels, all that. And then you color code it. I color code it based on content type. So you can see here, all of the videos are in blue. Our 2 blogs are in yellow. Our emails are in this pinkish color. Social media posts are in white. So now my whole July of 2022 was planned. I would do this more towards the end of June and get ahead of it, right? So I would plan out the editorial calendar towards the end of the month before. I would plan out the marketing planner the quarter ahead, right? So in late September, we planned out our Q4 and get clear on that. And then that's your editorial calendar to make sure you and your team are being very proactive with your marketing, right? And so that's the editorial calendar there. All right. And then lastly, for planning is your events calendar. And we have this being set up to where it actually will integrate. It's almost done, but it integrate with your Google Calendar. And so these are going to be things like your public speaking, your, you're going to have all kinds of different stuff that you would do that would, let's plan out like November. We're going to have let's do an example, attorney lunch, right? And you put the time, let's do that. Let's say it's at 1 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. Who's the point person? Your event details, let's say Steak and Shake, right? And you hit save and it's on there. You can do an all-day event. These are going to be your meetings, your public speaking, your workshops, you might do corporate events, all the things externally. You might have in-house events, like you have a sports recovery experience or a patient appreciation experience as well. So that's where you're going to place all your events calendar. So your marketing planner is going to be for your content marketing plan. And then the events calendar is for all of your boots on the ground, community outreach, public speaking, networking, all those things that you're doing. Like when you had the referral directory and you set up that meeting with Mary the trainer, that goes on here, right? And now you can track and plan for your events that you're doing as well as a team. And this is a full comprehensive approach of tracking and planning your practice so that you grow, okay? And some of you may be asking, like, how do you have access to this dashboard? It's included in your Chiropractic Success Academy membership, $99 a month. You have access to, here's our website for that. Actually, let me go to a different one there. That's the login for the Academy. But right here, basically, is all kind of information you want. CSAcircle.com. This is an online academy, $99 a month. You have access to a ton of lessons and trainings and playbooks for your practice. But then also you have access to this full dashboard here. Now, if you're a MCM Mastery coaching client, not only do we coach you, but we also do a lot of the marketing, production, and distribution for you as well. And you have access to the Chiropractic Success Academy as well. And so as a CSA member or an MCM member, we're really trying to help you grow. And then the tracking and planning tool here is what you have access to. So check us out either at csacircle.com or at modernchiropracticmarketing.com for the different things we have to offer. But this is what you need to be doing to grow your practice 20% next year and keep on growing from there. Let me exit here. I hope that was helpful for you. I really believe in proactive planning for your practice, because otherwise you're just dreaming and hoping it happens. This is going to be a way for you to actually move the needle and do the things that work for you. So check us out. I hope that was helpful in understanding how you can start to really get a full grasp of how to make accurate decisions for your practice.